Welcome again, everybody. Episode 5 now of the Adapt podcast, where we're exploring the stories of SME owners and leaders, challenges that they're facing out there, some of the creative ways in which they've solved them, some of the epic fails they've had to learn from, and trying to pass some of that knowledge on to our community. Very excited about today's guest, and I'm very privileged to have Mikaela Greene join us, co-founder of MyTab. A bit of a local hero, in my opinion. Mikaela, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me.
I would like to invite you to tell us a bit about MyTab, the business that you co-founded with your sister.
Yep. So MyTab is an iOS and Android hospitality application. It facilitates contactless beverage and food ordering for customers and venues. For our takeaway functionality, customers can place an order anywhere up to 15 kilometres from a venue. They just open up, their app, and any of the MyTab venues that are within the 15-kilometre radius will display on the customer phone. They're able to then place an order and then receive a notification from the venue when their order is ready for collection. And for our table service functionality, basically the same flow, except for the customer enters their table number in, and the venue staff will be able to bring the order out when they're ready.
Wow.
Yeah.
I want to go deep into where this all came from. And I'm going to dig into your backstory a little bit. But before we get into any of that stuff, I like to try and break the ice, connect with the human. And so I got 2 very silly questions. Question number 1, what's a favourite life hack of yours?
I guess for me personally, I don't really feel like I have a life hack. I was actually talking with my sister about this a little bit earlier, and we were trying to kind of think about what we do that's kind of like a life hack. And I guess I feel like I read a really interesting book, Grit, and in the book they did speak about how a lot of people do get caught up in, I guess, the journaling aspect before doing, the idea or committing to a project, and how it is important to, set goals and everything like that, but try not to get caught up in kind of like the journaling, social media side of it, where you're kind of showing people that you have an intention to do something just to kind of go out and do it. And I guess I wouldn't necessarily call it a life hack, but just to really make sure that when you have an idea that you're confident with or anything like that, just to commit to it and kind of skip the journaling and sort of manifestation side, because it can detract, I guess, from the overall, I guess, essence of the product.
I find that extremely fascinating, because one thing that stands out to me about you guys is very rarely do we see you talk about what you're going to do. Most of the time we just see about stuff you've already done.
Yes. Yeah.
It's just kind of cool. I like that.
That's very intentional. I think both Eliza and I definitely made a pact, I guess, especially when we conceptualized MyTab. We didn't tell a soul. So we had obviously our partners. Eliza met her partner in 2017, end of 2017. I met mine at the beginning of 2018. And we conceptualized MyTab at the end of 2017. And my partner, I didn't tell him until I think Christmas of 2019 what we were working on. So he knew that I was working on something, but we really kept everything under wraps. And I think it's great. I think it's good to kind of keep things close to your chest until you're ready and you have, that you have like the evidence, I guess, of your success or your hard work, as opposed to kind of telling people what you're going to do. So yeah, it was very intentional that Eliza and I have kind of kept it close to our chest.
That's 5 years in the making.
Yes. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. And not a lot of people, know that. So it's, a lot of hard work behind the scenes for sure.
Overnight success has taken years of hard work.
Yes.
That's the real story.
Yes.
No such thing as an overnight success.
No, there's not.
Okay. Next silly question. Favorite indulgence of yours? And if you say surfing, that's cheating, but it's okay.
Okay, so I wish I could say surfing. I haven't been able to surf as much just with how busy I've been, but yes, definitely surfing. I do love a good book. I love chocolate, and I love a good cocktail as well. I just think, obviously, from a hospitality background, Eliza and I both enjoy experimenting with cocktails, and that's kind of one of my favorite things.
Do you have a favorite?
Standard margarita is pretty good. Eliza makes a killer margarita, and an espresso martini, but with a shot of Baileys as well. If you add Baileys in it, it's the best thing ever.
When my wife and I met for the first year of dating, there was this one spot in Perth where we would always go to for their espresso martinis, but it was a caramel espresso martini or something like that.
Yeah.
I wonder if they do the Bailey's trick, but it was a bit lighter and a bit creamy.
Yes, yeah. So, yeah, Bailey's is definitely a must-do in espresso martinis. For sure.
She's going to be stoked if I bring this little tidbit of information home.
Yeah, no, 100%. You definitely need to try it.
Awesome. So before we get into my tab, wondering if you can share with me just a little bit of your backstory. So where have you been for the last several years? What have you done? How did you end up here today?
Yeah. So Eliza and I are professional surfers by trade. We were competing on the World Qualifying Series, traveling the world, and we were funding our competitions through working in hospitality. So both Eliza, my sister, and I have extensive experience working as baristas, bartenders, waitresses, all of that sort of thing. And we were actually working in Manly Wharf Bar in Sydney, which is coincidentally where I met you. Yeah. Small world. But Eliza and I were working extensively there. It was quite a high capacity bar, and we just couldn't help but think that there was a better way to facilitate orders, because we did find that, the majority of our time was spent taking a customer order, them being really indecisive, back when cash was a bit more prevalent, handing over the wrong change, all of that sort of thing. And so we were kind of like, what would happen if we as bartenders are already receiving the orders and we were just being able to make it, as that, was the most efficient process, because, up to about 70% of our time was used taking those customer orders. So we kind of thought about that from a convenience perspective from the customer, that gave them a chance to, place an order, not have to wait in line. Even from like a woman's perspective and a safety perspective, I know when I go out, as women, we like to group together. We go together to the bathrooms, we go together in lines, all of that sort of thing. So to have that convenience and safety to be able to order at your table and then just have the drinks brought to you, or just go up there to collect the drinks when you're ready, really presented like an interesting concept for Eliza and I. And we were still competing at that stage, so we put it a little bit on the back burner, decided to flesh it out and save. And by 2019, we had enough to kind of put down for a prototype, and then COVID happened. And so, that concept of convenient contactless ordering emerged from, a convenience to a necessity. And it really kind of gave us that kick in the butt, I guess, to know that we were doing the right thing and that we were diversifying in the right channel. And so that's kind of where my tab was conceptualized and how the journey of it began. Yeah.
Such a great story of somebody, sisters seeing a problem and go, how could we solve this problem? And at the time, you guys were professional athletes, which is a significant undertaking in and of its own, which I'll drill into a little bit shortly. But where has your entrepreneurial drive come from to go, hey, we have an idea, but we're going to save and we're going to put the money behind it, we're actually going to try and solve it?
I honestly don't know. I think I've had a couple of people ask me this question, and I think Eliza and I think we bring the best out in each other, and we're always trying to improve and better ourselves. And I think a lot of the qualities that you take as a competitive athlete are easily translatable to business. I think as a competitive athlete, you need to have confidence in yourself. You need to learn how to think fast on your feet, especially with heats. They're 20 minutes long most of the time. So you need to have that confidence in making decisions for yourself and making them quickly, because at the end of the day, that could make or break whether, you're winning an event or whether you're losing the event and losing the income from that event. So I think growing up in a competitive landscape from, about 11 years old onwards really helped shape both of our mental strength and our resilience to be able to translate that into, I guess, an entrepreneurial pursuit.
Okay. So as you guys were at the height of your professional career, you've talked about operating in a competitive landscape and being able to think on your feet. What would you say has been a key part of your mindset, whether inherent or developed, that's led you to become as successful as you were in surfing?
That's an interesting question. I think what would be the key? I honestly, it is a difficult question to answer. I think that having the drive that Eliza and I have had, I mean, I guess growing up with our mum, she's been amazing and she has been such a role model to us. And I mean, she's got 4 different degrees with her nursing, and she committed herself to working to be the breadwinner of our family while Eliza and I were young and while we were competing. And kind of seeing that and growing up around that with such an amazing role model, I think has definitely made a long-lasting impression on us. Right. But yeah, I don't know. I just think that we encourage each other to be the best versions of ourselves, and I wish I could tell you where the drive comes from besides that, but I do think that there is a lot of intrinsic drive for both of us to create something special and to create something that, you know, consumers and venues alike love. So it's we're just very passionate, I guess, about MyTab and about where it is. And I think that's probably really important as well, is that you have to have that passion for the project that you're doing, because if you're not passionate about it, there is, you know, quite a few bad days that you have as a business owner, and days where you are anxious or that, you know, you are not as confident as what you could be. So you need to have that passion for the project that you're committing to make sure that you succeed in it.
It's interesting with my conversation with Alex Domo, when I asked him for a tip that he would give any entrepreneur or budding entrepreneur, he said something along the lines of, if you already know, you need to know how hard it is and the challenges and all the stuff that you're going to face. And if you already know all of that stuff and it deters you even a little bit, don't do it.
I would respectfully want to disagree a little bit, just on a little bit, just because I think that in some respects you need to not know what you're getting into. I think sometimes it is best to just dive in and then tread water, because if you were to know all of the stresses that you're going to undertake, a lot of people, I guess, would be disheartened by that. I know Eliza and I definitely would have, as being as young as what we were when we conceptualized this in 2017. What was that? It's 2023 now. I was 23 when we came up with the idea, and Eliza was 20. So, I mean, we didn't know the first thing about insurance, about trademarks, about any of that sort of thing. We just knew that we had an amazing idea that we were confident in, and we decided that we were going to do everything we could to make that happen. And there is really something to say about learning on your feet and learning how to pivot and getting that advice as you're going, as opposed to knowing everything before you start. Because, I mean, even with our prototype, for say, our prototype is completely different to what our live app is now, because we did everything that we thought would be perfect and we got it in a live environment, and we needed to change so much that to make it, you know, better for venues and listening to venue feedback. So you don't need to know everything, but you do need to be willing to learn on your feet, and you do need to be willing to be adaptable and to pivot quickly.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of wisdom in both of those points, but especially having the courage to go after an idea and not be put off by all of the potential things that could be challenges, will give people the chance to have a go. Mm-hmm. Whereas I think you're right, if everybody knew how hard the road was going to be, a lot of people won't try.
Yes.
And then maybe a lot of wonderful things would never see the light of day.
Yes.
Yeah. I want to drill deeper into mindset, but before I do, just want to circle back to Mum really quickly, because you talked about what a wonderful role model she was for you guys, and that she decided to be the breadwinner, and it sounds like she brought steadfastness and stability to your environment so you guys could pursue what at the time was this drive in surfing. What would be one of the big things that you took from or learned from what was modeled to you by your mum?
I think the harder you work, the luckier you become is a good point that we take. I mean, and I've seen that with Eliza and I. You know, the harder that you work, the more opportunities arise from your hard work and your dedication. And just to make sure that you finish something that you start as well. I think that's one thing that Mum has really kind of drilled into us, is that if you're starting something, you need to be willing to finish it and you don't quit. Like once you commit to something, you follow through and you finish it. And you put 110% in until it's completed. And so I think it's a really valuable life lesson, I guess, for us. And it helps us because, you know, when you commit to a plan and that is your plan A, and you don't say, oh, but I have a plan B or a plan C and those are your safety nets. If you say, no, this is my plan A and this is what I'm doing, you don't self-sabotage because you're not sitting there thinking in the back of your mind, oh, well, you know, I just have this safety net in the background, so it doesn't really matter if this doesn't work out. I think that really has helped us and helped us shape MyTab to be, you know, the app that it is today, and
Not having a way out has made you go, well, we better make this work.
Yes, it's 120% in or nothing at all. Yeah.
Awesome. And one of the critical things about being a co-founder is choosing your partner well.
Yes.
Now, partnering with your sister, I bet brings a lot of wonderful things and some different complexity.
Yes, 100%.
So quickly, tell me a little bit about your partnership with your sister.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of things that have been told to us as well, especially while we were competing, as we've traveled together extensively, was that so many people were like, oh, I wish, you know, I had the bond that you have with your sister. And I do think that our bond is really unique. I think we are best friends, so it's great. But also, obviously, being a sibling, you need to learn to talk to your sibling as your business partner and not as your sibling. And I think that our bluntness and our honesty with each other is a great kind of feature to have in a business, because you need to be able to openly and honestly discuss with your business partner things that you like or that you don't like. And I want to say 99% of the time we're definitely on the same page. I think sometimes our methods of getting to the same page are different, which is where you know, those conversations come in. But yeah, I do think it was a very it has taken us a little bit of time to learn how to speak to each other as business partners and not as siblings, and learn how to turn off as well, so that we can actually enjoy time as sisters without talking about business. But I mean, I would not pick a different person. And I think that that's, you know, the most important thing is that when you have a business partner, you need to make sure that you have 100% trust with that person. And both of us have that with each other, which is great.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And do you guys, are you really strict on, or do you find it easy to separate work and life, work and family, or is it very blurred?
I think at the beginning it was very blurred, and I think it took a couple of instances for us, like, to get to the point where we were just ready to pull our hair out, to be like, we need to not message each other at 10:30 at night with an idea, because work doesn't stop then. So it's been good for us to be able to set boundaries, I suppose, like at nighttime and things like that. And especially over the weekend, we've created a more rigid business time frame, and we stick to it pretty well now. But yeah, at the very beginning, I think it's good to, you know, be 100% in the entire time, which is what Eliza and I are in. Yeah. But it is also good to kind of set boundaries. So we've definitely learnt that over the last couple of years, just what works for us and how we can still have, you know, that time as sisters and enjoying time, just behaving as sisters as opposed to business partners.
Awesome. A final point I want to touch on backstory before we get drill into mindset a little bit. You guys had a quick journey on house rules, which was my wife and I watched you guys. It was great. It was good fun. From a business person, what is that meant for you? That experience. What did you guys get out of that?
Yeah. So it's really interesting. Eliza and I went on house rules to help give Mum a fresh start. She went through a divorce, and we wanted to, Mum wanted to keep the house, and it was quite derelict and run down at that stage. And Eliza was like, why don't we just apply her house rules? Let's see if we can get on it. let's just see if we can get it,
Such a ballsy thing.
Yeah, let's see if we can do it. And I specifically remember the time I was sitting by the fireplace and Eliza was just like, oh yeah, like I think I should just apply. Let's just see what happens. And she applied and we got a call back and it was just a whirlwind from there on. But I think a lot of people did ask us whether or not we were doing it, to launch a reality TV series or career or anything. And that was
because you guys had the complexity of already having some level of not celebrity status by virtue of being professional athletes, right?
Yes,
and a lot of people will follow that route for exposure.
Yes.
But I certainly got a sense that definitely from the story of how you ended up there, that was a totally different intention for you.
Yeah. So we did it. I think we didn't realize, I guess, that it was a reality television show. We were like, oh, it's renovation. Like it's a renovation show. And that was kind of, being on TV was kind of a byproduct of being able to help mum get the house renovated. And it was amazing. Like if I could do it again, I 100% would. And I would recommend anybody that was wanting to do it because it was an incredible experience. From a business perspective, I don't really feel like it added much to Eliza and I when it comes to business, but I think it helped us build a bit more resilience and obviously helped us in the scope of thinking on our feet and, how to adapt when things go wrong. But yeah, it was a very enjoyable experience and it was mainly just obviously to get mum's home renovated. And I remember the producers asking, how are you dealing with it now that you guys have been knocked out? And we were like, we're so happy. Like we got the house renovated. We were able to help, 5 other couples do the exact same thing. They're all amazing people. Like we're stoked. Like this is amazing. So
and how did your mum feel after all of that?
She was in shock. I think even walking through the home, like she was completely in shock. And it took her a long time to actually register that this was our family home now. Like this was the house that,
how much did she know about what was going on?
Oh, nothing. Yeah.
Right.
And I mean, we didn't either. So with the walk through the house is completely, you're not allowed to know or see anything. So it was a complete shock for us to see the house the way that it was. So yeah. And obviously, mum didn't know anything about what was going on with other like homes or anything like that because we're obviously had to keep quite tight-lipped. Yeah. But it was really exciting to see it on TV and kind of watch how everything played out on TV. Yeah.
Did you take any pro tips from show business that you can apply to hospitality business?
I don't think so. I really don't. I think it feels like I've lived so many different lives, but I think it was a great experience, I think, for us personally. I think in business, there wasn't too much in-house rules that was able to be translated through to hospitality, in my opinion. But it was a great personal experience, I guess, and personal bonding with Eliza too. It was fun. It was good. We really got to push ourselves to the limits.
And you get to play with power tools and big hammers and all sorts of fun stuff.
Yeah. Well, I think one of them, we were building like a bunk bed at Shane and Carly's house, and I was using like the drop saw to do everything, and Eliza was in charge of collecting the pieces of wood so that we could take that into the room and actually build it. I'm so proud that we managed to build it. Like we are not builders, and the fact that we built like a standard bunk bed that was usable was amazing. But Eliza was accidentally grabbing the scrap wood and taking it and throwing the actual like measured pieces in the skip bin. Oh, no. And I'm so glad that the producers didn't pick up on it because it took us about 40 minutes to figure out that she'd done that. And we ended up having to dig through the skip bin trying to find like, correct pieces of measured wood. So yeah, there was a lot that didn't make it on the show, but it was a good experience.
My brother's a builder and he always tells me this. I don't know if you heard it on the show, but he says, always measure twice, cut once.
Yeah, no, it was great. It was a great experience for sure.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to read something because I made a note to make sure I get it right. But I was at the Perth Angels Investor Breakfast where you guys were on the panel. Also, Alex did a presentation at the time, and Steve Baxter of Shark Tank fame, well-known Australian investor, was interviewing or asked a question to you guys, and he compared your decision to go into the overcrowded space of hospitality with your startup to taking on atomic warfare, which I thought was a big statement, but I can understand where he got that from an investor's mindset. And your retort to him was so good, and you delivered it with such genuine conviction that it really took me aback. I was very impressed with it. And it demonstrated a certain mindset to me that was really impressive. Now, if my notes are right, because I pulled my phone out, I was like, to write down what you said. And you said something along the lines of, you guys are taking on this atomic warfare with a laser focus on the customer and ensuring you fund it all yourself, which to me are two very powerful notions in any startup, which I think founders often miss. I guess firstly, did I get that right? Is that what you said, or did I?
I think that was definitely a part of what I'd said. I think from memory, I said that people often look at certain demographics or industries as a pie chart, and it's simply not a pie chart. I don't believe that there's any such thing as an oversaturated market. I think that your individuality, your uniqueness, and your personal experience and what you bring to the table can create a product that, might service the hospitality industry, but it services it in a completely different way than, say, any of our competitors. And I don't think it's worth comparing yourself to other brands or other businesses, because your uniqueness is what makes your brand you. And I think that is, I know it's cliche, but it's the truth. I really, truly don't believe in oversaturation of a market. Otherwise, there'd be no new activewear brands. There'd be no new makeup brands. There'd be, no new breweries, new wineries, all of that sort of thing. Because with that mindset of that it's already oversaturated, you would have no new creativity or people bringing their own uniqueness or spin to certain industries. So, yeah, I definitely don't believe in an oversaturation of a market. And yeah, Eliza and I have bootstrapped to date, although we had some really exciting news. We actually were awarded the 2023 Innovation Booster Grant from the West Australian Government recently. So thank you. It's been really exciting. So yeah.
You when you addressed Steve, you talked about a laser focus on the customer. And am I right in making the assumption that that is your uniqueness? It's one of the things that you guys are like, this is what we're going to do to stand out.
Yeah, and I think we're not, I guess, a tech company that's providing solutions to the hospitality industry. Like, we've worked in the hospitality industry, so we're using technology as a medium to fix issues or pain points that we've seen. So I think that is something that's different as well, is that we worked in hospitality and are continuing to work in hospitality with our application. And so we're not just a faceless company that is providing, a service. We really live, eat and breathe the hospitality industry. And I think focusing on our customers, which are obviously our customers with our app, but also our venues, and we do see our venues as our customers as well, really taking on board their feedback and really making sure that they understand that we hear them is a really important part of our company as well. And I think, speaks volumes about our venues. We've had a lot of positive feedback from our venues and from our customers on our customer service.
Amazing. How many venues have you guys got on board now?
Currently, we have 12 venues, and we've just recently signed on the Kayla's Hospitality Group with Trig Island Market and Canteen. So we should be going live with them very shortly. And we've also signed on the Crooked Carrot. So anyone driving from Perth or driving down from Perth or driving up to Perth is
stopping there on Friday.
Yes, awesome. Yeah, you can definitely try it out. So those are a couple of our newer venues that we've jumped on board, but we also have quite a few venues across Busselton and the Southwest too, which are really exciting. And I think one of the great things about our app is that we have designed it to be quite scalable. So, the small owner-operated businesses all the way through to conglomerates where we're trying to service and then make sure that they have an enjoyable experience with our application.
Yeah. But I find interesting, and you said it there, and I just kind of want to reframe it so it makes sense in my mind, but you've been a hospitality service provider professionally and have uncovered problems that need solving, and a lot of those problems were a problem for the patron,
yes,
the customer. And to me, it seems like you guys have first solved for the patron, and by making the patron's life easier, you have created value for the venues.
Yes.
So you've got these two really wonderful customer groups.
Yes.
For the solution that you're providing.
That's correct.
And yet there's a lot on offer to hospitality, but you guys found a gap where you thought that we can do things better, and you've put yourself and your own financial backing and everything behind it. So you've taken the risk because you guys are bootstrapped today, excluding the grant. That's a big risk. So let's talk about the mindset behind doing that, because you guys are experienced professional athletes, experienced technicians in the hospitality industry. This is the first real big entrepreneurial venture.
That's correct, yes.
You guys really had to back yourself in.
Yes.
Talk to me about what goes through your mind when you take that leap and then you go down this rabbit hole of discovery.
It is very nerve-wracking. I think when we first put the deposit down for the prototype, it was a very, very nerve-wracking day. But I think ultimately at the end of the day, if you have done your research and you have confidence in your product, it's just a necessary step that you need to take is to move forward with it. And I think that, Eliza and I had such a confidence in our product and we believed in ourselves. And I think we are quite realistic in terms of our goals and our trajectory of where we're taking MyTab. I think that is really important, is that we really kind of built a scope out of how we wanted to progress with the application, what we wanted to focus on first, whether that be, research and development or marketing. Really developing that scope for building the company was really important for us. And having that kind of those building blocks that we could work off helped us to keep steady on the path, I guess, and making sure that we were ticking all the correct boxes and setting a really solid foundation before taking off. And that was, I guess, our most important feature, I guess, was just to make sure that we were setting correct foundations for the application, making sure that at a base, the application was working correctly and seamlessly, and then working to make sure that we also had all of the other legalities and technicalities that come with running a business set up as well. So focusing on those things and taking it back even to competitive surfing. My coach, Martin Dunn, he was incredible. And he would always say to me, you cannot think about the final day. You always have to think about taking it one hit at a time. You need to work on the process and the results will come. And I think for Eliza and I, working on the process and not thinking about the end result, understanding that there is an end result that we would like to get to, but not getting caught up and trying to leapfrog our way there, because there are no shortcuts that you can take. Taking those steps and taking it process by process, day by day, and making sure that you have an accurate plan in place really helped us.
Yeah, also, I think that's a really powerful thing that you're saying there. It's a topic that's popped up a little bit in our work the last couple of weeks for some reason. We all want outcomes. Everybody wants outcomes. But there is a certain power in understanding the process and valuing and loving the importance of the process. Mm-hmm. And if you follow that and you do that diligently, like you said, the outcomes will come.
Yes. So the outcomes are a byproduct, I guess, of the steps that you take leading up to that. And that's, I think, something that's been really important that Eliza and I have really focused on.
So as two sisters who are not software developers, how did you make a decision to trust somebody with the development of your technology? And how much did you have to learn about building a technology product in the process? Yeah,
so we've actually learned quite a bit about coding over the last couple of years. It's been a really interesting journey. I guess Eliza and I, we're very meticulous, I guess, when it came to researching the correct developers to be taking on this project. And we did a lot of shopping around for the development team that we've eventually chosen. So I think that was one of the most important things, was to choose the developers that we could trust and that we believed in and we could work with a solid team. So that did take up a big portion of our time, especially at the beginning, was research and figuring out exactly what we needed and how that was going to fit into the overall scheme of everything and working into our budgeting framework.
Yeah. So is there a tip or a learning or a lesson there for any young founders out there who are about to make that decision to select a team to trust with their technology development? Anything that you guys learned through that process that you think is worth sharing?
I think the best thing you can do is just research. And I think that no matter who you choose, because even with we started with one team for our prototype. We started with one team for our prototype, and then as we kind of evolved our goals with MyTab, we then onboarded other teams and things like that. So I think being flexible and understanding when to pivot and not get, locked into, a massive company or something like that and locking yourself in, but just doing a lot of research and making sure that the team that you're selecting is competent and has the history behind them to be able to do that. And I think Eliza and I have always been extremely hands-on. So we've developed all of our UI screens we have created ourselves before giving it to the team to then develop and code. So we are extremely hands-on. And I think that's the best way that you can ensure that there's quality control is to be hands-on. There's not going to be an easy way around developing tech. I think
are you guys creative in that way?
I think, I'd like to say that both of us are quite creative. So yeah, all of the screens on our app and even on our venue screen, we have gone through and created ourselves and created mock-ups, and then we take that to our development team and say, this is what we would like. How do we get this going? So I think, we are pretty creative, I would say. I'm really proud of how our app's looking. So I would like to say that I might be a bit biased. But no.
It's a very customer-led approach for you guys.
Yes.
You say, well, we're trying to best serve the customer. What will the layout, the interface and the design look like that will best do that? Now build us that.
Yes, that's correct.
Correct. This decision to bootstrap. Tell me about that. Why did you guys make that call, especially in a world where there's quite a lot of pressure to take on investor funds?
I think having the creative control and the direction that we wanted to take our company. So our main focus when we created MyTab was obviously hygienic convenience for customers and venue economic empowerment. So we wanted to make sure that that core ethos of our company was able to be retained. And I found that with a lot of research that we'd done with investment companies, most investors are looking for that quick return. And we were looking to build something that was resilient and for the long run. And I think we had the capability, fortunately, to be able to do that. So we decided to take the risk for ourselves. And I think I'm really happy with the direction that we took. I think that it has given us the freedom to be able to take MyTab in the direction that we wanted and not have to answer to anybody, especially in that crucial development phase where, you're taking feedback from venues and customers, and you're trying to build this product that is scalable and is seamless and is automated. Having too many chefs in the kitchen can spoil the broth. So making sure that we kept it streamlined, and Eliza and I were, making the decisions together and not having to have other people that had other ideas kind of take control of that was really beneficial and has been very beneficial for us.
Yeah, I think that's wonderful. When I heard you say that as well at the breakfast, I thought that was powerful. In our world, in the work that we do, I think there's a lot of opposing views out there about raising funds early and having the working capital and then grow for growth's sake and scale your business. But the work we do, we're of the opposite opinion. We believe that there's real value in holding on to the decision rights of your business.
Yes.
If you have a long-term mindset, if you were driven by return on investment and all you wanted was a multiples exit in a short time frame, then sure, I can understand the other way. But the typical SME owner leader wants to solve a problem for a long period of time, deliver value to customers for a long period of time. So have a long-term mindset.
Yes.
It's incredibly difficult to fulfill your vision if you have to share the decision rights with so many other people who are not in your business.
No, that's correct.
And so I think that it was an extremely wise decision from you guys, and you've just reiterated why it's been beneficial for you to retain those decision rights.
Yeah. And it's not to say that we're not, potentially open to investment at a later stage, but specifically in the development stage and being such a young startup. I mean, we officially launched in October of 2021. And just being so young with that startup, making sure that we had the decisions or the rights to make all of the decisions and the ability to pivot quickly without having to seek approval. Eliza and I, we'd notice something in the app and we would say, okay, yes, we'll move this specific feature up in our timeline and we'll pivot now quickly and add that in and do all of those sort of things. And that's something that we probably wouldn't be able to do with a lot of investors at the table seeking, obviously returns on investment, because that is exactly why they invest, is just for a quick return. So it's not necessarily best for your business.
Yeah. You guys officially launched in 2021.
October of 2021, yes.
October 2021, 2022, not even 2 years.
Yes, that's correct.
And how many awards have you racked up already? I tried to count them before. There's 5, 4, 5. There's 0.
Yeah.
There's CCI, the local CCI.
Yeah. So we've got the Emerging Small Business of the Year Award presented by Xero, which was an amazing workshop that we also did with them. Thank you. That was our first national award, so it was really exciting. We also, Eliza won the 40 Under 40 Awards on behalf of MyTab, which is really exciting.
That night we were able to watch her take the stage and accept that for you guys. It's so amazing.
We were both eating our dessert, not thinking that we were going to win anything. And then they called out Eliza's name and I was trying to get my phone up, trying to make sure that I could get the footage in time. But that was amazing. So Eliza won that on behalf of MyTab. And then we also have the Rising Star and Innovation Awards presented by the Boston Chamber of Commerce and Industry. We were nominated for the Tech Scale Up Awards this year. And then also we were a finalist in the Channel 7 Young Achiever Awards for the innovation category.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's amazing to see that recognition for a lot of hard work.
Yes. Yeah.
And for people looking on and seeing the successes and the awards and things like that, it's easy to miss how much work has gone on in the background. One of the things that I wanted to explore with you is, how do you and Eliza maintain a positive and a growth-orientated mindset in the face of the adversity that you face when you're on a journey like this?
I think one of the best things is that we are a partnership, and I feel like when one of us is feeling really down or flat, the other one is very quick to pick them up. So I don't know how people can say that they're sole founders and that they've done it by themselves, because Eliza and I, with the amount of work that we've done, there's obviously we've had support, even just through family and things like that, just supporting us through that time when we do necessarily feel flat or if we're exhausted. And there's always going to be those pits and peaks, I guess, within business. But I think having a partnership and working together, having someone to fall back on and kind of vent to, or have release those frustrations to, and then pick it up and start again or continue going, is really important. So we have a really strong supportive network around us. Jimmy, Eliza's partner, he's incredible, and Christopher, my partner, is incredible as well. And both of them have been amazing for us, specifically when we're stressing out. Those boys have dealt with a lot of us being so stressed out with MyTab, but and obviously our mum and our other extended family as well. It's good and really important to have a supportive network around you that you're able to talk to when you're feeling a little bit flat or down, so that they can kind of remind you and center you of where you are, so that you can kind of pick yourself up and keep going.
Yeah. People who know me will say that I often lightheartedly remark that one of the keys to be a successful entrepreneur is to make sure that your life partner is on board with you doing crazy thing like that.
Yeah.
Because they have to live with you when you're stressed or working too much or all that sort of stuff. And there's some incredible research out there that backs up the finding that founders are more likely to succeed if they have good co-founders.
Yes.
Have the team so you can counterbalance each other and pick each other up when times get tough.
Yes.
It's a very lonely road when you do it on your own.
I couldn't imagine doing this alone, even with just being able to take time off, especially considering that we have just been able to get MyTab to a stage now where it's a little bit self-sufficient. And Eliza was able to go on a holiday for her birthday, and I took over that. And, next time when I go for a holiday, Eliza will be able to pick up the slack. And it's so nice to have someone that has your back and that has the same vision and the same goal as you. And I think that's crucially important to have, somebody on your team that is just as driven as you are, brings different unique perspectives to the table, but you guys are both working parallel with each other.
Yeah. We've touched on the complexity of entrepreneurial journey a couple of times now. Do you guys ever face or battle with self-doubt or fear on the journey? What does that look like? How do you deal with it?
I would say that we deal with it with dark humor a lot. I think Eliza and I sometimes have a very morbid sense of humor, but no, I would say we're both pretty good at calling each other out when the other one's, having a bit of a whinge or a sook. So we listen and we hear each other, and then we say, yeah, I understand what you're saying. That's not actually reality, and this and this and this, and you're able to bring them back. And Eliza's done that to me quite a few times, and I've done that for her as well. So I don't really feel like there is an extended period of time where we're ever feeling in a rut. It's mainly, maybe there might be an afternoon where we're a little bit stressed or something's going on, and we call and have a chat to each other, explain what's going on, and then, we figure out a way to work through that. I think Eliza and I are both very solution orientated, and, hurdles that come up within business are called hurdles because there's a way to get over them. So that's
great.
Kind of how we try to approach it. So, it doesn't matter how big the hurdle is, it is a hurdle because there is a way over it. So I think that's really important to kind of take note and to not lead too much with emotion when you're facing those kind of difficulties or self-doubt. It's really important to take a step back, maybe have a chat with somebody or go do something different, read a book, have a cocktail, do something, and come back and revisit it when you're feeling a little bit more clear and have a bit more mental clarity.
Okay. So as two co-founders you've taken the risk to bring this thing to life. Mm-hmm. You've made the investment. What is the mindset that you apply to innovate and take calculated risks with your own money rather than the luxury of taking risks with other people's money, and finding a balance with stability and practicality to produce a good result?
Yeah. So Eliza and I have gotten really good at budgeting, which has been great.
Do you use Xero?
I do use Xero, actually. Yes, we do. Both of us. Eliza showed me. I'm not the finance guru in this partnership. Eliza is. So it's been really good. I think like I said, we balance each other out.
Yeah.
But I think in order to take calculated risks, it is still a risk. But I think Eliza and we have very in-depth conversations about the progress of the application and our company and where we'd like to see it. And then we break it down into really manageable sprints, and we figure out exactly what the most important thing is to fix or to update. And from there, we then are able to devise a budget to kind of see that through and to understand that even though technology moves fast, tech does take time. So we have that patience to know that, and the budget and the planning to take it one step at a time and make sure that we're really prioritizing things that need to be done first. And you get better at it the longer you're in the game. And I think, that's basically what Eliza and I do is we just break everything down into really manageable sprints. And it's the great thing about, I guess, us contracting our developers and having that development team that we contract is that they're able to quote us for specific work, and it helps keep it manageable. You don't have that high kind of cost associated with full-time employment and things like that. We really make sure that we try to keep the startup as lean as possible to ensure that the majority of the income derived from MyTab is being reinvested into research and development and all of that kind of fun thing.
Yeah, that's a really amazing approach. So a couple of takeaways from that is you guys are really disciplined with your rigor around budgeting and planning, and then you take bold risks within those boundaries.
Yes, that's correct.
And then the other thing that I took from what you just said was running a lean startup so that you can reinvest as much into the improvement of your product.
Yes.
I was just listening to the Acquired podcast episode on Porsche, the car company. And one of the reasons why the 911 Porsche was so successful is for many, many, many years, for tax reasons and all sorts of other things, the company reinvested everything into the improvement of their product. And they, at the time, doubled down on one product, and they refined that and refined that and refined that and refined that. And today, that product, that car, is world-renowned as one of the best out there. So it's a really great approach for so early in your journey. I'm sure it's going to pay big dividends down the line. What's next for MyTab and for you and Eliza? What's the next couple of years look like?
So I think in terms of, like I said, with the scope and breaking things down into manageable pieces, we have dreamed quite big with MyTab. So we have secured trademarks in Australia, the UK, New Zealand, and the US. But that is a long-term plan. Right now, our goal is to obviously have market saturation within Western Australia, and then obviously moving over to the East Coast. So hopefully in the next 12 to 18 months, we should have a few more venues across Australia, which will be really exciting. And yeah, we're building the application to be something that is something that customers will use every day for convenience. It's not just when they're going to the bar to place an order at a table because it's busy. It's they're using it at their favorite cafe every morning to grab a coffee before work, or after picking the kids up from soccer, or after school, or things like that. The mums are placing orders on MyTab, which we've had some amazing feedback from quite a few parents in the Busselton area that do that at one of our venues, the Good Egg Cafe in Busselton. So it is really exciting to hear that, and hear that it's becoming something that customers are using solely for convenience, and they're using it on a regular basis. Yeah.
And how do you stay close to the pulse of your customer feedback?
So we have multiple kind of avenues of where customers can submit feedback. I also do a lot of venue stop-bys where I'll sit in the venue and introduce myself to customers, have conversations with customers about our application. And we also have very open lines of communication with our venues. So I think that was really important, is to establish that very early on with our venues. And with our introductory meetings with the venues, I do make a point to say we are very open to venue feedback. And if you have any suggestions, if you have any feedback, please feel free to let us know, and we'll definitely take it into consideration, because we want you to enjoy the application and we want you to use it to its full potential. So having that open line of communication with both kind of demographics of our customers is really important, and kind of helps us build that trust and good rapport with our customer base.
Awesome.
Yeah.
For the East Coast hop, surely the Manly Wolfpack can jump on board.
Oh yes, I'll be definitely hitting them up when it comes to East Coast, when we start expanding there.
Good. On the topic of securing all of those trademarks, by the way, well done. That's a really strong move, but it's not easy.
No.
Just a quick tip or a little bit of advice you could give to anybody who might have to make decisions around this now?
So when we first went to secure our trademarks, our lawyer first said to us, I don't think this is going to go through. We'd settled on the name MyTab, and he did suggest that we try to change the name, and that it could be quite costly if we ran into opposition. But MyTab was just a name that Eliza and I were not ready to give up on. And I think one of the best workarounds that we found was that we managed to secure the trademark for the name and the slogan together, which gave it enough of a difference, a different amount of clauses to enable us to have that trademark. So our trademark is MyTab, no Q, just you. And that helped us create that difference, so that there wasn't just a prefix, because, like MySpace and things like that, having that prefix.
That's really, really good advice.
Used to be easy to trademark, but everyone uses prefixes in front of the names now. So it's my this, or my table, or, things like that. So, or you pay, or any of that sort of stuff. So
It just strengthens your brand as well to connect that slogan to the name so closely.
yeah, so we decided to group the trademark, and that way, you know, we've protected our brand, and we've protected our slogan, our logo, all of that all together, which is great.
Good on you.
Yeah.
And any final tips or advice for anybody out there who is currently or thinking about building a business for the long term?
I think this is going to sound a little bit cliche, but always trust your gut. If you feel like you're going into a business meeting and something feels off, it is okay to walk away, even though sometimes I feel like there's a lot of times where you go into business meetings where you feel like this is a make or break. There is always going to be other opportunities. So make sure that you always trust your gut and your instinct, because it's there for a reason. And hurdles are called hurdles because there's a way to get over them. So always make sure that you're solution orientated, and there will always be a way to get around the problem that you're facing. Sometimes you just need a fresh perspective, and that might mean that you need to just take some time away and come back with a fresh mind. But if you are passionate about the product, or if you're passionate about the service that you're providing, there is always a way to move forward. So just make sure that you stick to that solution orientated mindset, and don't let the problems weigh you down.
Mikaela, thank you. This was an amazing chat. It's a huge privilege to have you.
Thank you for having me.
I think you and Eliza are amazing inspiration for a lot of young business people out there trying to bring an idea to life. So good on you. Keep going. Well done.
Thank you.
We're all cheering you guys on. And thanks for coming all the way to speak with me today.
No, that is all good. It was really exciting to come on and have a chat. And thank you so much for having me.